welcome again. My name is Leah Pinto, and I'm so excited to show you everything we have with STAAReady. Hopefully your last year was kind of our development year for the product, and this year we took all of your feedback and all of the suggestions from last year, and this product definitely, this intervention is going to blow you away. So let's go ahead and get started because I have a feeling if you're joining us today, the answer is no, you are not star ready. But we will change that by the time we get through the session today. So EduSmart has taken the approach with STAAReady that I kind of equate it to star practice and star intervention and that boot camp time right before the test. It's kind of like the wild, wild west of education. Like everyone does something different. Some people have a month-long boot camp. Some people do a Saturday before the test, and that's review. I mean, it really is quite wild. And so we have data coming from all these different sources, our MAPS test, teacher test, benchmarking, and then all these different timelines, all these different classrooms. Let's face it, teachers right now, they may be an incredible interventionist with strong modeling skills, or you may have a long-term sub. Like it's could be anyone in that classroom, having to lead through this intervention process. And finally, all of that, how do we support our students with all these, unknowns, we should say. So that's kind of where we started with our thought process of how do we create an intervention and a star review that works in all of these settings and all of these situations and with all this data. And that's what we're going to show you today. STAAReady, it's EduSmart, so we always start with the standards, and we're going to build from 100% alignment with the standards, which this year was a little challenging, I will say. We love TEA, but the information was not necessarily super forthcoming about what was going to be on the test. We know now that third and fourth grade is testable this year, but it will not actually be third and sixth grade are testable, but they won't actually be on the test. According to TEA, while yes, they show up on our testable curriculum, they will not have any test or questions this year for third grade and sixth grade. We took it anyways that you need STAR intervention for every single standard. So every standard listed will have pathways for you. Just know this is kind of our thought process. We're like, all right, we have new stuff on the test this year, stuff that was not testable last year for all grade levels, although eighth grade, bio is pretty solid. There's not a lot of significant changes there, but we do also have some new question types this year. And as I've been doing training here in January, y'all, I'm a little surprised a lot of our teachers do not know that there are these new question types. So, and I'm not saying with any of y'all's districts or anything, but just kind of in general, talking around the state, teachers don't know a lot about this. So, man, okay, here we go. We have all this data. We have all these different situations. How do we then put together a cohesive star review that works for all of these different situations? And that's where STAAReady happens. It is literally a 1, 2, 3 process. You're going to select your standards. So if you're teachers and you know that I don't need a lot of practice in food webs, my kids are solids there, but man, do we need some help with 5.6a, like that's where I can focus my time. You will literally have a checklist. You checked, I want this, and this standard. And from there, you then choose your approach. EduSmart has a 3-pathway approach. All of these pathways teach the same material. It's all the same material. It's a matter of how do I want to present the material to the students. So pathway 1, teacher-led, usually small group or whole group instruction. Nothing that would be assigned here. It would all be a teacher, a strong teacher interventionist who can share their modeling and share their thinking, walking through the students with a hands-on activity, a instruction module, and then a graphic organizer. And y'all, that's all new material. It is not in our current LMS, not in the current EduSmart product. So we created new, I'll say summary kind of activities designed for your end of year just review of content. So if you know and love EduSmart, for example, 5.6a, Big Huge Hairy Teak. We have 6 instruction modules, 6 chunks of instruction for the students. Instead, with STAAReady, we created one instruction module that's a summary that covers the whole standard. Same with our activities. They are short, sweet, and to the point. 10-minute activities, super simple kind of materials and processes. But what do the kids need to see and like actually touch in order to just understand the material? New activities. And then, of course, some kind of graphic organizer as an artifact. We need the kids to show their growth. So the way that the pathways work, all students take a pre-test, you choose your pathway, they take a post-test. If you choose pathway 2, this is collaborative stations. We're going to have 3 or 4 stations, depending on how you prefer it, set up around the classroom, and the kids will move in small groups. Now, this could look different depending on how you want to do it. We do have like a student packet, a printable packet that the kids can do all in print, or they can do it individually on their own devices. Okay, so it's really up to you, again, how you choose to collect data on that pathway. Pathway 3 is brand new. Pathway 3 is our AI tutor. It's like having a teacher come and sit down right next to every single student and walk them through an error analysis of of like star level questions. So it's a Socratic tutor. They're going to be like, well, tell me why you thought that. Oh, okay. Well, let's think about it this way. And it's going to give them examples and like pictures in their mind that they can relate to reteach that standard. Individual, personalized STAR intervention. All of these pathways come with STAReady. So in one classroom, you might have that strong teacher and you do pathway 1 for high intervention needs. And in another classroom, we may assign out the AI tutor to cover the same content. And what makes this work in a classroom is that all of these pathways are designed to be completed in one session. So you have about 5 minutes for the pretest, 5-question pretest, 30 minutes for all of the pathways. Sorry. 30 minutes for each pathway. And then again, you take the post test. And we gave a little extra time at the end because, we really want the kids to focus and show what they've grown. The pretest and post test, same assessment. We just kind of mix it up so the kids don't realize it's the same questions. And then there's one short constructed response in the pre and post. Okay, so with this structure, I can take 45 minutes and apply that to any classroom, any setting, any day. So let's look at what's actually in the pathways. Again, thinking we're all covering the same content, it's a matter of how do I present the material. Pathway 1, your teacher led. Pathway 2 is stations. Pathway 3 is our AI tutor, and you can mix and match however you choose. So let's look at it, how it's actually going to be in the system. Now, STAReady will not go live until February 1st. So you're not going to see it in your system. Right now, you may see the tab for STAReady. And if you look here, this red tab, that's where you're going to find it. We will flip the switch on that February 1st. Here, I'm going to select my grade level. For this example, I'm just going to use 5th grade. And we'll choose the standards that I know my teachers, my kids, or my district needs. So that might be all the high yield TEKs that we know are going to be tested every year. It might be, oh man, my kids are really struggling here. Let's get some extra help with 5.8C light. But you have options for every single standard that could show up. And then again, the pathway options. Now these are how you choose. So if you want to only include pathway 3, you just click for pathway 3. This time, because I want you to see absolutely everything, of course, I'm going to select all of the standards and all of the pathways, and we'll look at it in the system. And I'll show a little bit from 5th grade and 8th grade so you can see this is for 5th, 8th, and bio, and it will look the same for the most part for all grade levels. Once you have gone through that 1, 2, 3 process, EduSmart provides you with a custom-built LMS. This is your dashboard for how you want your STAR review to look. You're only going to see the pathways you want, and you'll only have tiles for the standards that you chose. I'm just going to click into the tile, and here's my pretest, all my pathways, and my post-test. For your teachers, for your staff, you literally click Assign, and it goes through our normal assigning process, which is super simple. And it all the student-facing documents automatically go out to the students. That's all you have to do is assign. Or view, if you choose not to do the digital pathway, you can do it as a printable version too. So the pretest we wrote as part of our normal quizzes. So it includes all the accommodations that you know and love with EduSmart. Built-in text to speech, all the accommodations that students would need. All they have to do is click the little speaker. They'll have their question and answer choices read to them, and then they would go through the 5 questions. There is also some accommodations here with, if I highlight, I do have a translate option. This is up to 27 different languages it can be translated into. We can also translate, do a dictionary, so you have the definition of the term, or again, text to speech where it's going to read it out loud to them. That's the pre-test and post-test. Then we would choose, so that's 5 to 7 minutes at the beginning of class, and then we'll choose our pathways. Let's look at pathway 1 first. So I'm just going to use this 5.8 as an example. In this, oh, I'm sorry, this is 5.6. So brand new activity. Again, it's simple Walmart materials, easy to gather up, easy to rerun. Then we have our consolidated or summary version of an instruction module. And hopefully y'all know and love our instruction modules. This is guided instruction for your teachers. So it has built-in pauses that allow for discussion and collaboration. So regardless of who is running the class, they're going to have these built-in prompts.
These cubes are the same size and volume. What happens when they are dropped in water?
So here's a built-in pause with a question prompt, and this is going to let us have that conversation. Now, everything on our instruction modules is automatically read out loud to the students and is closed caption for supporting our emergent bilinguals. So it's always, anytime they're hearing text, they're going to see it written on the screen. And it's going to just continue in that way with this graphic organizer, which again is a summary activity, asking them to think about overall and put their learning together. And on the back page of this is a concept review. This is generic to every standard. So here's your built-in sponge. If I have a group that finishes early, they have this to work on. If I have a group that doesn't get to it, not the end of the world. This is the content that's most important. So a little built-in sponge for you to manage time. So that's pathway 1. That's it. It is super fun activities. Oh, we've had so much fun with some of these new activities. The 5.8C is a light maze. All they need is like binder clips and cardboard and like little mirrored pieces of cardboard, and they make a maze. So they're seeing like, what is reflection? What is refraction? They're bringing back those terms and actually seeing them hands-on physically to build that like mental picture that they can then go back and use on the test. So that's kind of the idea behind the pathway 1. Pathway 2, this is our collaborative stations. So in this model, small groups of 3 to 4 students would move from station to station. We start off with vocabulary station. So this is our word explorer. It's going to read the directions, so it automatically reads the directions out loud.
To learn more about the science term. Once you complete the activity successfully, the flashcard will flip over and reveal the formal definition.
So again, here, this is a consolidated version. If you know our word explorer, it can have different numbers of words. We have limited it to 5 words per unit. What are the 5 key words? And we have a digital version of this explorer activity, as well as printable, like hands-on cards that the kids can manipulate. So in the vocabulary station, they do a quick digital activity, and then they can play games with the vocabulary cards. They can play memory or headbands or do some kind of, interactive word wall, something along those lines. It's that print and digital combination. We then include the same instruction module that I just showed you, right? So the kids have the opportunity to pause and work together as they work through the instruction, the reteach. Same graphic organizer. And then the third station is our readers. So cluster question is a new item type this year. Cluster question means you take one stimulus and there can be multiple questions asked about it, and it doesn't even have to be in the same standard. Like they can actually ask about different TEKs with that same stimulus. So best practice here, little pro tip, have the teachers immediately go to split screen mode on our readers because that is exactly what the cluster questions will look like. So now I have my text evidence on the left. I have a 5 question quiz on the right. And question 5 is always a short constructed response. So all of our short constructed responses in the pre, post, and here are AI graded for the teachers. Like we're not going to expect them to grade 3 short constructed responses per day for every single kid. What we do is kind of provide a summary. So when the students types in their response and clicks submit, they're going to get an exemplar. And that exemplar is like, hey, this is what the best answer could look like. The teacher, under their reports, which is in STAAReady, right? It's consolidated within there so that you don't have to get like out into our regular reports. Anything from STAAReady is right there for them, and it will tell them this is what the student said. We grade it on a 2 point rubric, 0, 1, or 2, just like the STAR test, and we give the teacher a little snippet because we don't want to take them out of the equation. We want them to have the touch. That's the whole point of this is the teacher knows where the students are at. So you can't grade things for them, but we do just give a little summary so that they don't have to go in and do everything themselves. It's like, hey, this kid got this part right. They need a little work on this part. We gave them a 1 out of 2. Done. Simplified. Makes that support for the teachers a lot easier and they're getting consistent feedback. So that's station 3. It's just a reader. Now you choose if the kids go in and do this individually, or we have a station artifact that we created where they can actually, and I think I have a copy of that real quick. We have a station artifact. So if the teachers choose not to do anything assigned to the kids, they can instead use this little artifact where they're answering the questions on paper as a group, or you can assign it out to them and they can do it individually on their computers. It's completely up to you. We provide enough so you have the option to do it either way. I was old school. I like paper and pencil. Other people are, they prefer to have that activity online. Completely up to you. All right, so that is station 3 is the reader, short constructed response, and cluster questions. And then station 4, if you choose to include it, is the same activity that the teacher is doing in pathway 1. We give them student directions, but it's just a basic inquiry activity to build that mental scaffold. So, again, you can have it in pathway 2 if you choose to. The reason we say it's optional is because of timing, right? We schedule or we arrange STAAReady so that each pathway would take about 30 minutes. If you choose the hands-on activity, you need about 40 minutes, right? It's another station, it's about 10 minutes. So just be aware that that's that timing issue for your flexibility. But that is pathway 2, vocabulary, content review, cluster questions on the reader, and then activity if you choose to do it. 4 stations. Now, does anyone have any questions on those before we move on to pathway 3? Please do not hesitate. You can save your questions. We'll stick around at the end, add them to the chat. We're here for any questions you may have. The team is here as well so that they can help you and support you if you have any questions. Because I'm about to show you pathway 3, and this is where it gets so exciting for me. It's amazing. So pathway 3, again, this is our AI tutor. And this is like having a teacher come and sit down and work with every single student. Oops, sorry. Let me sign back in. Every single student as they work through working on this. Okay. So I'm going to use an 8th grade question just because I've shown you a lot of 5th grade materials. Please note the format, the structure of STAAReady is the same for every grade level. The students are going to get a set of 5 questions in pathway 3, and we've designed these questions to uncover misconceptions and really figure out where are the students struggling if they don't understand the content. Is it vocabulary? Is it the actual content itself? Where's the misunderstanding? So in this case, we're going to have a STAR level question. Daryl reads the directions for his chemistry lab. What should he do in step 1? This is mixtures and solutions. So we have a little setup of a chemistry lab. Now here the correct answer is B. That's the only compound in the list. So I know that B is the correct answer. I'm going to choose A just so we can see how our tutor responds. The the idea behind it is it's going to first respond with some kind of encouragement, and then we're going to here we go. Let's look at it. What is substance X? You can see this is, fairly typical kind of question, shape and volume. And the correct answer here is liquid. B is the correct answer. So I'm going to choose solid in this particular case. And then the AI tutor, here's the structure. It's going to give them encouragement and then ask clarifying questions. And based on those questions, we're going to give it some kind of either an analogy or a mental picture. So here, I see you chose solid. Let's think about this together. If you put a Lego brick on a table, does it change shape on its own or does it stay the same shape? Notice we do have built-in text to speech and translation. Okay. And I'm going to say it stays the same. We don't expect the kids to write a lot, but we do have an expectation that they're going to engage with the tutor. This is Hootie, by the way, our little tutor right here. Right. So Hootie says solids like Legos keep their shape, but look at the chart. So we're directing him back to how do I interpret the chart to use that information to answer the question. It says substance X changes shape. Can it change its shape? Can it be a solid if it changes shape? No, solids stay the same. Okay, so we've made a key connection here that Hootie wants to reinforce. Yay, you figured out that it doesn't change. Now they can go through up to 5 rounds. So if I'm still not getting it, let's go back and look at the question again. And I'm like, man, I do not understand how this could possibly be anything but gas. So now I see you chose gas. Let's think about this. If you're filling up a balloon, does it get the same? If your students do not engage, IDK. Our first assumption, because you're going to have those kids, right? We all know they're going to have those kids. Our first assumption is they genuinely don't know. They don't know how to interact. They don't know how to respond. We're always going to start with support and trying to work through and breaking down into smaller pieces. Yeah. Oh, yes. And Ricardo, I will show you that in just one second, but please know it's not that is the peripherals that we're still like, trying to decide which voice we like best kind of thing. So it may change slightly. And the format here will also probably change slightly. The way it looks for the student interaction, that dashboard will look slightly different from what I'm showing you here. So just be aware there could be slight changes. All right. So yeah, in this case, we're still having that question. We assume the student genuinely doesn't know and break it down into chunks. If they still don't respond, I really, really don't know, or they're clearly not engaging, we're going to kick them back out and say, you know what? This may not be the best pathway for you. We're going to let your teacher know and move on to the next one. Like we're not going to keep them engaging in that. So in this case,
I really need to see a little of your thinking so I can help you. Please make your best guess or type a short idea, even if you are not sure.
So that's just our generic voice. It will be an actual, more engaging kind of voice, a very supported tutor we want this to feel for the students like Hootie over here just sat down with them and is walking them through it. So it'll be a more engaging voice. But that's a great question. Thank you. Any questions on this AI tutor process? Again, up to 5 rounds. If they don't get it after 5 rounds, then we're probably out in the weeds. So what the tutor will do is say, okay, here's the explanation. You've learned a lot. Let's go back and try the question again. So if we ever get where the student is not either engaging or they've gone off into a rabbit hole, we're going to bring them back to the question, say, let's start over. Okay. And they go through 5 questions in this process. You, as the teacher, would receive a summary of exactly what happened. You have transcript options if you want to go in and see what the tutor said, what the student said. But again, the data from STAAReady is all going to come from this pre and post test. So I want to go into the data just very quickly. We're just about up on time. One second. So I want to make sure you can see the reports. They are going to be fairly simple. Again, it's at this time within the lesson cycle, We want to focus on what are the kids showing that they've done. So the data is based on pre-test, post-test, and then growth. Okay. Um, Within that, if you choose, any of our assignable components like readers or Word Explorer, if the students do that individually, there will be data for that in your normal reports page. But for STAAReady, this is what you'll see. And of course, like I said, there's going to be feedback on the dialogue. We are going to have a summary so that the teacher can see overall as a pathway, how did this student do? So there'll be lots of information for the teacher based on this, but that's where your actual data and your actual analytics will come from. So, and I saw a great question come in the chat. No one's, no, I don't want any companion. All right. So it's a mental, so in pathway 3, the students are not necessarily going to see an actual graph or chart or anything that we generate because we want them reading the question, right? You've got to go back and see, how do I analyze this chart? How do I analyze this graphic or this image? We use mental images will hey, think about it this way. What if it looked like this? Or we use analogies. So thinking about mixtures, like think about a day at the beach. Pick up a handful of sand and you see lots of different sizes and shapes. So we're not generating AI images. We're creating mental images for the students using analogies or some kind of comparisons, right? We really don't want the kids to have like unfettered access to AI. We want to make sure that what we give as a response is solid. And sometimes AI can get a little hallucinogene, they hallucinate images. So we do not want to include anything that could confuse the kids. We don't want to give them more information to have to analyze. We want to help them break down the steps and analyze images. So hopefully that shares the difference. We will stick around for any questions that you might have. If you have any in the chat, we do have some members of our sales team here for any other questions you might have. Otherwise, just reach out to us at sales@edgesmart.com. For our current district partners, if you are looking for some professional development around STAAReady, please let us know. This is a good time to start planning that and figuring out how we're going to incorporate that for your teachers. And again, it won't roll out until February 1st, but starting February 1st, you will see STAAReady on your LMS, and you will, just like normal LMS, it is found right here under the STAAReady tab at the top of the screen.
Leah, we have a question about Spanish. Is it available in Spanish?
So for 5th grade, all the material is available in Spanish. However, everything you would have to translate. So I showed you like at the point of assigning how you can translate that and the different activities. It's not all content going to be in Spanish. They would have to translate. So for instance, on the reader, all of our readers have that option where I can highlight anything and then translate it. So the material is not automatically going to be in Spanish for them, but everything has a translate option. Does that make sense? Yeah. Now with our regular product, of course, you always have that option or anything. We have the option for English and Spanish through 5th grade. So if you wanted to go in and assign the reader in Spanish, you could simply by using that toggle. But just note that that's in the regular LMS. For STAAReady, it's they'll have to translate. Sonia, I hope that was clear enough. If not, just let me know and we'll show you exactly the components and all. Awesome. Well, hopefully after having seen that, maybe you feel a little bit more STAAReady, or at least we'll be there by the time the test comes around in here in a couple of months. So thank you all so much for being here. You will get a copy of the recording for attending, so feel free to share that with anyone on your team who needs it. And again, reach out to us at sales@edgesmart for any other questions or scheduling PD or anything like that you might need. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and thank y'all so much for being here. We look forward to rolling it out here in a couple of weeks.